Chapter 8. Steve! Natalie jumped up and ran to her friend. Natalie and Steve were close in a different way than Sam and Steve. Sam often wondered what simmered below the surface of their relationship. Great friends who argued constantly. Sam was only 15, but already understood the wire between love and hate was a tightrope walker's nightmare. Natalie never said it. Steve never mentioned it. The Ramsaroups certainly never discussed it. But Sam surmised that no matter how Western the Ramsaroups appeared, Natalie was not to date anyone who was not of Indian descent. During one of those many dinners Sam loved so much, getting to eat new and exotic dishes, not just Texas meat and potatoes, out of the blue, Ms. Ramsaroup gave her little philosophy of life. Families are very complicated living things. Just like any relationship, they must be constantly nurtured and balanced. That is why traditions are so important. Any outside force can become destructive if it removes a tradition. Why invite trouble when you know he will ruin the party? One of those mother-daughter looks took place after this pronouncement, and Mr. Ramsaroup left out one of his signature sighs before turning the subject to a benign topic. Natalie never wanted to talk about it. Sam was pondering Mrs. Ramsaroup and remembering a rigid jawline that normally never was on the tranquil face, and the sizzle on her left side reignited. You read beautifully this morning. The sun made your hair look like a burning bush. A burning bush? Really? Was that the best line that he could come up with? Sam returned to her usual guys are so lame mode of thinking when she turned her head. Brandon's almost 2 white teeth fully focused on her. Thank you, she mumbled instead. I hate to read out loud. Why? You're really good at it. Have you ever thought about being on the speech and debate team? I'm planning on taking debate next year. My dad says it'll look great on my transcript and it'll be good practice if I want to be a lawyer. Sam totally forgot that only moments before she suspected this gorgeous brown-eyed demigod was lame. That sounds... Sam didn't get to finish her thought because Tiffany Carter and Aubrey Tennis arrived to block Sam's slam dunk for a Valentine's date. Hey, Brandon! Tiffany made his name about 12 syllables long. Good morning, Tiffany. Brandon was polite, smiled at Aubrey, and tried to direct his attention back to Sam. I just wanted to tell you how much I appreciated what you said this morning. It made the whole passage make sense. Sam doubted anything made sense to Tiffany except hair highlights and fake fingernails. Oh, that's great, Tiffany. I'm glad. She had his attention now, little witch. Bye, Brandon. Bye, Aubrey. Tiffany. I need to go find Mom and Dad before church so we can sit together. No one noticed Sam excuse herself from the conversation. This round's winner, Tiffany Carter. After she already stood to leave, see you at school, Sam. Brandon gave her another only for you dazzling smile that made Sam feel a little better. After she was exiting the Sunday school room, she heard Tiffany and Aubrey inviting Brandon to sit with them in the balcony. They weren't required to sit with their families during church, a family tradition Jonathan Flynn was not about to let any outside force interfere with. Sam found Natalie. She stood blank-faced beside Mrs. Ramsaroop, who talked intently with Sam's mom. Never a good sign. Sam thought she might want to keep a little distance, so she stopped at Lily and Mary Beth's little group. We practiced an evacuation plan 4 different times, and JT isn't even in his own room yet. And then we had to try a new plan, and we responsible for getting him downstairs. Lily and Mary Beth talked in unison. Sam recognized the 3 girls that listened patiently to the Flynn fire safety plan, and Sam was amazed at how her sisters could finish each other's thoughts. Behind them, the 2 Ramsaroop boys awkwardly stood, obviously wanting to be a part of the little no boys allowed clique. Balaji was 12 and Snehal was 9. Why did they still have Indian names, Sam wondered. When she heard them talking about the fun of possibly climbing out a 2nd-story window, Sam had one of those moments like when a light bulb pops over a cartoon character's head. Here was her opportunity. Mom, Balaji and Snehal think a fire safety plan would be fun. Why don't you tell Miss Ramsaroop what we did yesterday? Surprised, Sam guessed her mom hadn't seen her walk up. Not missing a beat, the kindergarten teacher had the children captivated with the fire safety plan. Before Mr. Flynn found his family to make them have their seat in the sanctuary, the Ramsaroop boys were begging their mother to have a family fire drill the minute they got home from church. Thanks a lot. Natalie punched Sam in the arm. Hey, if I have to waste a Saturday, and you have to share in my pain. But Sam felt pure relief. Even if the Ramsaroops didn't have a fire evacuation plan, the idea was now on the radar. Sam noticed the rainbows the stained glass windows cast on the carpet as she walked to her seat in the church. She thought about the book Cathedral Mouse, her favorite children's story from when she was little. The mouse lived in a Gothic cathedral, and he would dance in the rainbows the windows made. Blue mouse toes, red mouse tail. Her dad would always tickle her when he read that part. Sam remembered sitting in the warmth of the sunshine on the floor of her room and looking at the pictures in that book. So many times her imaginary friend Ellen read the book to her when a parent was not available. Sam pretended to curl up in Ellen's lap. She must have had the book memorized, so Ellen read to her. Ellen would play with her hair, and so often Sam would just fall asleep in the sunbeam. Thinking about the story itself just made her sleepy. Why did the church have to have such comfortable chairs? Didn't the pastor realize that that was an open invitation for sleep? Her eyelids drooped heavily until the music for the first hymn started. Sam dutifully stood and sang. She didn't even have to look at the big screen. She did know this chorus by heart. The sanctuary was a pretty new building. Sam remembered the old one with its hard wooden bench seats. She hadn't liked sitting on them one bit, but at least it kept her awake. Now the church was new and plush with a raised platform and a choir loft in front of big screens flanking either side of a radiant stained glass window. It was a lot easier to see the pastor and read the sermon notes from the screen. The notes made following the sermon a lot easier. That is, if she could stay awake. Most of church, Sam thought about what happened in Sunday school. Not her close encounter with Brandon Holiday, but her close encounter with God. Did God call to her? did God really send her a message? Maybe Tiffany Carter had more sense than Sam gave her credit. It would be a lot easier if God just got to the point and wrote her a note on the big screen.